Welcome back, friends. It's Anders. Today, we're finally making the Sazerac, and I've been looking forward to this one. There is no other cocktail that is more closely related to a city than the Sazerac is to New Orleans. I've had a few different variations of the Sazerac, and I'm gonna show you one that I absolutely love. But we've got a lot to unpack. History, the booze, the recipe. I'm gonna talk a lot, but stick around because it is worth it. This drink is great. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for more sips, tips, and recipes. And let's go make the Sazerac. To the bar. All right, we are going to talk about the history of this cocktail, which is actually quite cloudy. But that's no surprise because this cocktail is old. Some people say this is the original cocktail, but it's not. The word cocktail came long before the Sazerac did. But the Sazerac is still pretty old. It's believed to have dated back to the mid-1800s when Antoine Amédée Peychaud developed this cocktail in his pharmacy, which was in the French Quarter in New Orleans. Now, he also created Peychaud's bitters. And if you are familiar with New Orleans cocktails, this is a crucial ingredient and a very important ingredient in this cocktail. If you wanna know more about the bitters, check out my video on the Gun Shop Fizz. Now, the original Sazerac is said to have been made with cognac, specifically a brand called Sazerac de Forge et Fils, which was very popular in New Orleans at the time. And soon after the cocktail was developed, it was served and became the house cocktail at the Sazerac Coffee House, which wasn't a coffee house. Back then, they would call bars coffee house because it was just classier. Doesn't matter because later they dropped the word coffee and just became known as the Sazerac House. However, things changed in the 1860s and 70s because in Europe, there was an epidemic. It was phylloxera. Phylloxera is a parasite that attacks grapevines and kills them off, so you don't have grapes to make cognac. So meanwhile, back in New Orleans, everybody's drinking cognac Sazeracs, and they run out of cognac. What do? You swap it out with rye whiskey, because that was more readily available. And it made for a great cocktail, and the cocktail evolved, survived, and flourished. And by the early 1900s, the Sazerac cocktail was synonymous with the city of New Orleans, and still is to this day. Now, unfortunately, the original Sazerac house was demolished, but the cocktail found a new home in the 1940s at the Sazerac bar, and it's still there today. I've been there a couple times. It's a great space. If you're ever in New Orleans, check it out. It's like stepping back in time, and they make a proper Sazerac. My Sazerac's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna take elements from the original cocktail as well as the later cocktail, and it's really good. But before we talk booze, I wanna talk about glassware because right now, get your glass chilled. This cocktail is served in a lowball and there's no ice. Well, you stir and dilute it, but it's not served with any ice. So we wanna keep the cocktail chilled. I actually have a specific glass just for this. This is a Gibraltar, a single rocks Gibraltar glass. Not only is it smaller because I don't need the room for the ice, but it's really thick glass, so it stays cold once it's cold. This cocktail isn't for drinking quickly, it's a sipper. So if we can keep it cold as long as possible, it's just gonna be great right down to the last sip. Now the booze. For this recipe, we're gonna need rye whiskey, cognac, absinthe, bitters, and simple syrup. This is my semi-rich syrup, so it's 1.5 parts sugar to 1 part water. The rye I'm using is Sazerac straight rye. The cognac is Maison Rouge VSOP. The absinthe is Nouvelle Orléans. The bitters is Peychaud's Aromatic Bitters and Angostura Aromatic Bitters. Sazerac has become the name of a New Orleans-based corporation that has become a major player in the spirits world. It's a ghost company. This is a 6-year rye. It's got a lot of spice, so it's really good in this cocktail. Use whatever rye you like, pick a good one, it's gonna be delicious. In terms of the cognac, I would suggest using a good cognac for this. And if you want, try a Sazerac that is all cognac. It's nice and soft and easy drinking, very good. I'm just gonna use a little bit to round off the spiciness of the rye. In terms of absinthe, the Sazerac cocktail had a second evolution when absinthe was outlawed in the United States. In response, in the 1930s, a New Orleans-based company developed something called Herb Saint, which is like absinthe without the wormwood. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit sweeter, but makes for a great Sazerac. In fact, if you are in New Orleans and you order a Sazerac, chances are you're gonna get it made with Herb Saint. I'm using absinthe because I like this absinthe, but whatever you wanna do, it's gonna be fine. This is just a rinse in the glass. Now the bitters. We should talk about bitters. I'm sure that some of you are Sazerac enthusiasts, and you probably cringed when I pulled out the Angostura Aromatic Bitters. Some say this is blasphemy, but this is my cocktail, so this is the way I wanna drink it. It's true though. The important one here is Peychaud's. All the other components in this drink have changed over the years except for Peychaud's. This was in the initial Sazerac, and it's still in the Sazerac today. It goes really well with absinthe. It's just an important player in this drink. However, the Angostura bitters can complement the Peychauds if you use just a little bit. Too much Angostura can go too far and overpower everything. This is not an original idea of mine. Years ago, I went to the Napoleon House in New Orleans, and they made a Sazerac with a small dash of Angostura bitters, and it was delicious. So I started doing it too. As far as the sugar, I'm using syrup. Originally, it would have been a sugar cube, but I like the consistency and texture of the syrup. Oh, it's a lot to go over. Oh, have a lemon handy. Let's build. We are gonna start with the rye. So I'm using both rye and cognac, and this is actually rather common, but I'm gonna go a little heavier on the rye because the Sazerac I fell in love with was a rye Sazerac, and I like that spice in there. We're gonna do 1.5 ounces of rye whiskey. To that, we will add 1/2 ounce of cognac, 1/4 ounce of our simple syrup, and then 3 good dashes of Peychaud's bitters, and 1 small dash of Angostura bitters. If you have one of those little dashing bottles, that will work great. I usually have this huge bottle of Angostura bitters, but for Sazeracs, I like the smaller because I get a smaller dash. I suppose I could just get one of those dashing bottles, but there are some things I'm just a caveman about. This is one of them. All we have to do is add ice and stir. Give it a stir for about 20-30 seconds, depending on your ice. You can always tell if people put in too much Peychauds, if it's a deep red, or if they put in too little and you don't see any pink at all. Do you like Sazerac, Saz? I don't know why it came out that way. I'm gonna say that's good. Grab your chilled rocks glass, give it a rinse with my atomizer. I'm gonna do 8 good spritz. One more. And then we can just strain the cocktail off into the glass. Now, express some lemon oil right across the top. Hit the sides. I'm gonna clean up the edges on this one. Some people are really particular about their lemon twist with their Sazeracs, but I'm going to set it on the side, not in the drink, so that whoever gets it can drop it in if they want, or toss it. I'm gonna toss it. Actually, I should put this on for the final shot. The Sazerac. Cheers. It's no wonder it is such a popular drink. Really good. Dear spot in my heart. You do get the spiciness from the rye, but it's cooled off by the fruitiness of the cognac. You don't really pick up on the Angostura bitters. It's more of the Peychauds and the absinthe. I do think that the Angostura helps lift it up. And then a brightness from the lemon, an outstanding drink. How do you like your Sazerac? Leave a comment down below. Like, subscribe, notification bell, all that stuff. I will see you next week. Cheers.